Hello, Spationados, it's Lorenzo here. Welcome to episode 8 of Tylo and Eeloo, where today we have hard decisions to make. We have on the VAB construction site a Minmus cruiser that will explore Minmus. In the research lab, we are researching fuel systems, which will unlock fuel lines. Now, if you've watched the last episode, you saw we struggled around the moon to do multiple landings. Well, we didn't even try landings, but we concluded we need a craft that can do multiple landings. I want fuel lines for that at the very least. So we're not going back to the moon before this finishes. Now this can go to Minmus fairly easily. So let's go and get some Minmus contracts. We get the flag planting moon contract as well because we're gonna land there anyway. We are not offered any Minmus contracts, so that's well and done with soon. Let's recruit some astronauts because, well, some of them are dead. Let's get a new pilot, let's get an engineer, let's get a scientist, and that gives us a decent roster. Cool, so the plan for the future is to do the Minmus mission today. Let's start warping. Do the Minmus mission, which should be fairly self-explanatory. I don't plan to spend too long doodling around with that. It is a nice training mission for one of our rookie pilots. Then, 22 days later, we can launch the probe Eeloo, which is erroneously named because it's now going to Tylo. We will launch that and the backup probe together for the Tylo launch window, and then we can build a new one for Eeloo with the new resource scanners, which are being researched here. Not all of that will happen in this episode, but that's the roadmap for now. So let's roll out the Minmus thing to the pad. That will take a day because they don't have trucks or something. It just takes them that long. Cool. And let's see how fast we can do a Minmus mission, because this should be fairly cut and dry stuff. What do we do? Orbit, transmit, land, and do that. All that good stuff. Let's do it. Oh, we need to... Do we need to recondition the launch pad? No, we need to launch from it. Let's actually warp until daylight, because, you know, that's the nice time to launch, because then you guys can get to watch. Right, we're not going to build anything new, because I want something with more Delta V, nicer stuff with new technology, so... And we have 3 things ready to launch, so... Is this a bug? I built the ship, roll it out to the launch pad, then don't immediately launch it, and then needs to recondition the launch pad before I can actually go and fly it. I don't think that's intended. I think the launch pad reconditioning ought to happen after launch. So basically they're assuming that you will launch as soon as you finish the rollout, which of course isn't a completely ridiculous assumption. I mean, most of the time you're not waiting for daylight to launch, but still, I feel that's weird. Alright, let's try. A new Kerbal. We will send Frobol the scientist. This means no SAS, so manual steering all the way. But then we can train scientists. We still have that space station in orbit as well, which we need to crew. Now remember, this ship was never tested, and seeing it wobble around like that makes me slightly apprehensive. But hey, there's a rookie at the helm, so let's see what happens when we light this up. Oh, that looks incredibly safe. Here we go. The boosters are throttled at like something like 55% if I recall. Ascent is expedient but not overly rapid, and it actually, once the bouncing has stopped, and it has, seems surprisingly stable. I can even steer with my favorite steering elements, the elevons. Nice. I think we're going to throttle back slightly, because now that we're lighter, the boosters can bear most of the brunt. And if you're wondering why that's a good idea, it's because the specific impulse of the boosters is the lowest of the lot. You want to always exhaust the boosters first. Now of course you don't want to shut down your engines completely, because any altitude you're climbing with unburned fuel is altitude that you're spending energy to lift that fuel against. But there's also air to consider. I mean, if you're launching from a vacuum like the moon or Minmus, you just fire all your engines with everything you've got. But here you want to like strike a balance between going blisteringly fast and incurring lots and lots of aerodynamic forces, and going so slow that you never get anywhere. And if you then do have to throttle your rocket, you're going to throttle your liquids and be happy with that, because then at least the low specific impulse solid fuel is the one that's exhausted first. And of course, for every kilo of that stuff you need to lift, you require as much energy to lift a kilo of efficient liquid fuel. And so you'd rather lift the more efficient fuel than the low efficient fuel. In throttling, this isn't often a decision you can make, because solid boosters, they can't be throttled, and liquids they can, so that those are the ones you're going to throttle. But in building your stages, you can keep this in mind. Generally, you want the low specific impulse stages to be the first stages. You would not see a liquid fueled rocket and then have a solid low specific impulse upper stage. That generally doesn't make sense efficiency wise. So with this launch, a little bit of rocket science. Now, because we don't have fuel lines as of yet, these outer stacks are going to burn out first, which would happen if we had fuel lines, to be honest. But then the center stack will follow suit really soon, because they're all being drained simultaneously. We can't do something called asparagus staging, because, well, we need fuel lines for that. There's the moon. Fortunately, we're not going there today. Then we'll be going in the wrong direction now. Let's see how about getting into orbit. Looking good. 200 kilometers, a little bit of a steep ascent. Let's separate the outer cores and then cut the engine so that we may drift to our apoapsis. We shall use the Warp 2 apoapsis. Hey, we might get to see the Nexus 1 as it spins the planet. No, that's farther away. Let's actually target Minmus as we're getting there. Before departing, let's do a quick check. Do we have life support? We do. We have 34 days of life support. That's actually not a whole lot. So we may need to be efficient. Right. First things first, let's do our orbit insertion burn. Full thrust on the center engine, which is now the main engine and the only engine. We are carrying on this ship a center stack of struts or girders. Attached to that, some batteries, some science equipment, antennae for transmitting the EVA reports, and of course the lander and upper stage, which has 3 small rockets, which will do all the work on and around Minmus. And around Kerbin as well, because apparently we're not in orbit yet. So here we go. We can't operationalize our SAS system because it doesn't exist. And it's friendly enough to let us know that. Alright then, we're still not in orbit. I want to be in orbit, guys, come on. This seems as though we are actually in orbit. Yes, there we are. Periapsis of 125 kilometers. Isn't that wonderful? Cool, here we have Minmus. Let's try to nail it on the first go. And by nailing it, I mean encounter it. And this won't do it because that's on the wrong side. So let's try that somewhere else. I'm trying to make the encounter happen from the descending node, because that's where we are in the same plane, even though our inclinations are different. And that would make it an easy point, because if we can do this, and look, we can, even though, yeah, we can do this. This will take 29 days. We can't do this after all. Our life support is limited to 34 days, remember? Now the falling back bit would only take as long as, let's see, the falling back bit would only take about 5 days. So we could do this, but we could also try and be a little bit more efficient. So what I was gonna say about the ascending node stuff is that if I manage to do the burn from one of the ascending or descending nodes, I don't have to correct my inclination, because then when I meet up with Minmus, I will be in the same plane, even though I would be heading in a slightly different direction, which then wouldn't be a problem because the encounter would have been made anyway. This luxury we don't have. So we are going to correct our inclination, which, to be honest, is a 30 meter per second burn. Not a huge deal. So let's just do that, and then we can make the most expedient encounter. Now, if I was into mission planning, I could plan it beforehand that Minmus would be at the right point along its orbit, so we could transfer from the ascending or descending node. And this is a really good strategy if the inclination changes you are facing are really big, like 25 degrees. In the Kerbal solar system you're not going to encounter this, but if you play in the real world or with the real solar system mod, these are things you could take into account, and in fact you might have to. Cool, that's the inclination fixed, and now we're gonna try and... Actually, is it fixed? Yeah, 0.1 degree, that's good. Now we're gonna try and meet up with Minmus. So, let's see, maneuver node, bigger maneuver node, smaller maneuver node. Alright, let's move it along. There we go. Encounter in 4 days. I'll buy that. 850 meters per second. We start our burn in 22 minutes, which we will do. Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Minmus is always a fun little planet to go to because it's, oh, well, it's not even a planet, a rock, an ice cream cone, something. Because it's so small, the gravity is diminutive and it is the easiest place to land on. Both in terms of delta V and in pilot skill, which me saying this will mean that we will crash. Actually, to be honest, I don't think I've ever crashed on Minmus. There is just so much room for error there. And this is great. It's a little bit trickier to actually get to than the moon because it's farther away, but most importantly because the inclination thing exists. So it is possible if you go completely equatorial to actually miss it. So it needs one extra bit of rocket science to actually get there. But once you get there, you need less fuel, you need less quick reactions, you need less of everything to do a successful landing. So if you feel challenged to land on the moon or anywhere else, go for Minmus. It's right next door, and it is a joy to land on, and your guys can jump really high because of the low gravity. Anyway, you will see this in a few moments anyway. Our burn is almost complete. That's 100 and something meters per second to go. Let's see, that seems jolly good. Let's kill the maneuver node. And we are encountering Minmus, and we'll have a periapsis of 700 kilometers, and I'm just gonna be happy with that. Let's warp there. Come on, let's warp there and go faster. Whoa, that was fast. Well done. I really like this button. It makes me feel confident, and this spamming the button makes everything go really fast, of course. Not that sentence made absolutely no sense. Please do ignore it. Why am I unable to... Oh, the launchpad reconditioning was complete. I'll stop rambling. I was gonna say that spamming this button will cause the list here to grow. Then I got confused by the decreasing warp, which was because the launchpad is now reconditioned again. I definitely think that's a bug in the mod. Anyway, we'll just have to launch immediately, or we can internally, for our own sakes, rename that second reconditioning as rocket reconditioning. Let's just say it needs something from us while it sits there. Alright, so to business. We are in Minmus's sphere of influence. Let's get a crew report. And let's send that crew report home. And once that happens, let's go get an EVA report. Oh, look at that sun, resplendent in its glory with a planet and a moon. And an ice cream cone right there. Cool, Frobel, get out there. Don't lose the ship. Yeah, we're in space high over Minmus. We're grabbing science. Actually, I saw that the visual surveys, they were the big science bombs we got from the last episode. That was 72 science points per visual observation. Now, granted, it was a pretty tricky mission to get them, but man, the rewards are high. Which is great, because then we get to fast track into awesome new technology. Alright then. Let's not forget to actually send that EVA report, and then we can time warp to Periapsis, where we shall burn our rocket engines again to approach this tiny planet. Here we are. 4 minutes, nearest makes no difference. Let's burn it, burn it, burn it, burn it. Because we want to come into a landing anyway. We don't really care where, as long as it's on the daylit side of the thing. Because for watching ease, if you want to get like 1,000,000 science points, you will make a ship that will hop over the. Wow, that's a nice pirouette. You'll make a ship that will hop over the Minmusian surface. Oh, I need to boost up a little bit more because we're now. See, orbital speed 16.5 meters per second. Orbiting here is desperately slow. If you want lots and lots of science points, you will make a ship here that orbits and can drop several times, and that way you'll be able to get many different biomes, because Minmus has biomes. And if you do that, then you get all the science points for like half the tech tree in one run. It's a bit tedious. I'm looking for the planet now. It's a bit tedious, but if you're stuck somewhere, go to Minmus, or in lesser way the moon, because you can do it there as well. And just spam that. Just go there again and again. Visit the different biomes and do all your things. Alright, crew report again. Hi, this still counts as high. Good to know. Alright, we are your friends. We come in peace. We promise not to nick your ice cream. We don't need this maneuver node anymore. Alright. We are 12 kilometers up on our periapsis. We want less of that. We are now coming in for a landing like right over there. That seems decent. Time warping it up. Let's go. Let's do this. Here we go. Oh my god. We're falling, we're falling, we're falling. We're still only going like 200 meters per second. So this is what I mean with a really error-prone, room for error, large margin for error to land on this thing. Because even if you just leave the time acceleration on by accident, everything will be fine. Because the acceleration is so slow. Look at this speed. We're accelerating at like 1/10 of a g, if that, no less. At like 100th of a g. The 1/10 of a g is just under a meter per second, and we're just seeing the 10th increment. Right, Minmus's midlands. Now, if we were worried about science and not just like getting to Tylo and Eeloo, we would like fly around and grab all the biomes and do that many different times. But we're not going to do that because we're here on a mission, and that mission is to land on Minmus. And actually, we have been completing missions. We have orbit, we have received scientific things. Now we just need to land. Hey, look, we can just spin around here, do some more time warping. Because, I mean, this is at, I think, 10 times accelerated. This is 50 times accelerated. Oh god, we're still at 9 kilometers up. We're still only going 200 meters per second. This is the sedatest possible place to land. Can we do another crew report? No. This was already, we already had this. Apologies. Do we dare go outside again for another EVA report before slowing down? If we lose the ship, it could get hairy. So let's not do that. But let's slow down and then do it, because then we'll have all the time in the world. Full rocket boost, slowing down. And actually, this thing doesn't have a lot of luxury in the way of yeah, all the speed is gone. So now we can grab an EVA report. EVA report. Crater Flats. We didn't have that one yet. This thing doesn't have all that much fuel, so we can't do the hopping thing. But we can grab a science can. We're gonna grab the other one from the surface, obviously. And we're gonna transmit the EVA report. And now this is actually the horrible bit about Minmus's landings. This takes so long. Look at that, we're just floating above it. This is like a big asteroid. Oh my god, let's do more time warp. We're accelerating briskly now. We're at 10 times accelerated time, and we're now at 50 meters per second. And we're not allowed any more time warping because we're so close to the surface. Actually, I think we could do an EVA jaunt, because I think we're landing like right on the edge of biomes, because this flat area is a biome. You can just see the curvature of this little world. I hesitate to even call it a world. It's more like a rock. And these hills, they will have different biomes. Biomes? Sure, they'll have different biomes. Cool. Let's thrust. Yawn. I always regret coming here at this point in the mission because it's just getting too boring. But look at that, there's the shade of our rocket. And as we flew here, I mentioned that you need a low amount of fuel to land here, and I hope you can see now why that is the case. The gravity of this world is so low, it just doesn't accelerate you all that much, so you don't need a lot of fuel to counter your speed and to hover and to, you know, correct your attitude and stuff. I mean, even if I wanted to abort right now, I could just punch the rocket and leave. So it truly is a puny world, not worthy of our scorn. We will leave it undisturbed and we will go forth and conquer all the others. Hey, ice cream! In fact, you better be careful that you don't bring too powerful a rocket, because the minimum setting could just blast you off it forever. Here we go, landed. Alright, let's do our science and go home. Mystery goop. Yeah, 50 points. Let's do our crew report. Yeah, Greater Flats. Transmit. Let's wait until that transmission clears and then exit the craft for a little extravehicular jaunt. EVA. Let's get a report. Greater Flats. Keep the report. And let's go to the surface. Oh dear. Look, he doesn't even stumble. Plant the flag. We will call it Puny World. Unscorned by us. Puny Worldlet. It's too small to be called a world. Do we have shovel technology yet? Oh, look at those monster strides. That is fun. No, we don't have shovel technology yet. And I can't be bothered to EVA all the way. Oh dear, what's happening? Oh no. No. I reset the mystery goo container. That wasn't that. I didn't intend that. I wanted to grab the data. Yeah. All right. Now we just have to redo the goop from space. Well, that's okay then. All right. Space. Let go. Let's go indeed. Where are we? We are on that side. We need to go due east. Full burn. See how fast you can take off here. It's ridiculous. There we go. Let's grab the mystery goo. Let's not burn towards the planet. Alright. I think we have escape velocity. Should have, almost. Yeah, escape velocity has been attained. And did I just... Oh, I didn't. I thought I almost eyeballed a perfect re-entry trajectory, which I have now. But that doesn't count, because now I looked at the map. Cool. So that's a rather ordinary mission. You can see you don't need a lot of fuel to get back from here either. There's about 300 meters per second. And even with this little bit remaining in our tanks, we could land on a multitude of places and do lots and lots of science. But that just takes so long, and we don't want to do that because we are itching to get home. Because I think Jorfred, or whatever his name is, Frobol, or sciencey name, got to give him that, left the kettle on. True story. Actually, how are we on life support? Did we take lots and lots of days? No, we took like 6 days. That's fine, we're getting back here now in 9 days. Oh god. That's getting a little bit closer than I thought, actually. Also with our Kerbin to Jewel launch window. We're gonna launch one of two of those probes. Let's go. Let's go, guys. Here we are. I don't know what we're slowing down for now. I'm saying I want to time warp to periapsis. Oh, wait a second. We can still do observations that are new here. Alright, let's EVA report. No, wait, if... How fast are we descending? I do want to be inside the craft when atmospheric interface happens. Lights on, where's my hatch? Come on. Well, there's not that much of a rush, we're still 180 kilometers up. But we are coming in, that's for sure. Come on, oh no, I had the light, come on. Come on, Frobel, you're not an astronaut, you're a scientist. Don't go gallivanting around on EVA. Be careful. Cool. Alright, this doesn't look like a new biome. Alright, let's help re-entry a little bit. Full rocket burn here. We can use this, and that means that the inhabitants of these nice tropical islands, are they tropical? Are they over the equator? Yeah, they're tropical islands. That they don't get showered with unburned jet fuel. Or in case that it could be H2 and O2, then it doesn't really matter, but you know, friendly sorts. Burning it off before we enter the atmosphere. Cool, that's that. Let's separate the rocket from the parachute. Ditch the rocket. We got the things, right? Did we not grab the other one? Shit. Well, I don't dare go outside and grab it now, so we're just gonna transmit this. That's 38 science point failure because Frobel didn't do his job because I didn't instruct him. Alright, well let's ditch the ship now. Did that not do anything? That did something. Alright then, that's it. We're inside the atmosphere. I think we're coming in for an ocean landing this time. Whoa, let's keep it. Oh, we don't have SAS, right? And I have to keep it oriented into the airstream somewhat. Are we just going to fall straight down? Yeah, we are. This is going to be a really painful re-entry. Now, from another time and place, I learned that if the G-forces are going to be too hard for Frobel, I gotta pull the parachute, because then the science might still be recovered. But this is going to be rough for him. I think it's the antennae. I hope it's the antennae. Yeah, that happened last time. We're at 9, 10 Gs. Come on, Frobel. Pull through. 12? Shoot deployment is also unsafe. But I think Frobel pulled through. Did our shield as well? Yeah, our shield is really strong because this is a small planet. Wow, that was a lot of G-forces, man. Well done on surviving that. Congratulations. Right on then. Now that just takes all the excitement out of it, because now it's just a question of waiting again. And that means we can time warp. Boom, boom, boom. In range of the shore, so the rescue boat shouldn't take too long. That's great. And Frobel will get some experience points. I think we could send him up to the space station that we have that requires more crew to function. Oh god, this will take forever again. What can I tell you about the world? The world is a strange place. It really, really is. Man, things are so weird. Did you know there's animals living in your mouth? Like 1,000 million of them? Tiny ones. They don't have brains and don't have wants or needs, but they do. And they're not animals. I was lying about that. There's no tiny rabbits or tigers in your mouth. I'm a biologist, so you should know that. You should believe that when I say there's no tigers in your mouth. God damn it, this takes so long. Hey, there's our shadow. 16 days we were away after the last EVA. How's our life support? We have 18 days left from the 34. So that means that was about 16 days. Sometimes then it counts the EVAs and sometimes it doesn't. Weird. Alright, we're there. Recover the vessel. Yay! Alright then. Cool, we got funds and science. Wow, and this guy got 8 experience points. That's amazing. Now we want science data from around Minmus. Now they want visual surveys of Minmus. Visual surveys of Minmus should be really easy, by the way. Yes, I'm gonna accept this and build another big honker for it. No, we're still gonna make us a purpose-built Minmus craft for these, but these are easy. We can get this. 2 EVA reports, 2 crew reports. Yeah, that's 4 landings at most. We can do that, and we'll get all the science in the world. But first, the amazing, the awesome time of the probe launch is upon us. Let's proceed to roll out the probe Eeloo. Now let's warp for a day. We're gonna time this right this time. The probe Eeloo, which will go to Tylo, will save the world. Shall we decide that the Kerbal world needs the Carbanorum to live? Let's do that. Yeah, the planet, the Kerbal kind needs that weird resource on Eeloo. So that's why we're diverting the probe that was meant to Eeloo to Tylo, so we can build a new one for Eeloo that will find that delicious goop. Okay, rolling it out will take a day, and that means we can immediately launch it. At the proper time? Not at the proper time, but we're gonna launch it because our launch window is gonna pass. So apologies in advance for this murky darkness launch. No, that's not language. For this murky launch. Boom. And this should be fairly straightforward. I mean, this is just a probe. We built this like many hundreds of years ago. How is electric charge? We have batteries on it. We can in fact launch at night. Here we go. Boom. Lifting off. We even have a backup probe. So everything ought to be fine. Why aren't there elevons on this? Wait, there are. Hooray, I can steer it. Now this is actually important. I'm being all jolly about it, but this is important because this thing carries the hopes and dreams of our series. It's called Eeloo and Tylo, and this thing is going to Tylo. So yes, this is important stuff, damn it. And these boosters are really boosting. My god. My god, you can take off when you don't have to bring Kerbals or life support or other hefty equipment. Gee, heebie-jeebies. Oh my god, yes, 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 here we go, boost, boost. Is my talking distracting enough to fix the darkness that you can't see anything? There's flame, look at that, there's flame coming out of it. Here we go, and it won't be long now. As soon as we discover Eeloo and Tylo and their many wonders, we get to build landers and bases and all that kind of impressive, cool stuff, hopefully at any rate. Cool, we're at 20 kilometers already, pitching over more. Hardly burning the main engine because these boosters are doing all the work. My god, we're going high with these boosters. 25 kilometers. Yes, yes, yes. We're encountering some frame rate issues, probably because these boosters are boosting so hard. We're 35 kilometers. Let's reignite the main engine. Ditch the boosters. Here we go. Yes, the probe is on its way. It doesn't have SAS, so there's manual steering. I'm now robot brain apparently. At least there is steering. It isn't the stablest of probes. It does veer all over the place. But doesn't matter. We're here to put it on its initial trajectory. Trajectory to the altitude of Joule. Fine-tuning and interceptions will happen at a later time. Probably years later. A secondary goal of this show is to develop spacecraft technology that can do fast trajectories. That can do faster trajectories than the energy efficient Hohmann transfers that take forever. So we want to have fast space cruisers. They may or may not be named enterprises. Not companies, no. Exploration vessels. or something. Are we in orbit yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? No, not yet. We are almost perpendicular to the horizon. Let me go and target Jewel. Look how far we have to zoom out. Oh my god, it's so far away. It's this one, isn't it? Set as a target, yes. Well, we are at 2 kilometers per second relative to our own planet. We are slowly getting into orbit. I'm now going to cut the engine because this is getting ridiculous. We need to be at apoapsis. Actually not, we don't actually need to do that. Yeah, we do, because we need to pass and we need to burn over there. Alright, I didn't say anything. Cool, our reaction wheel is doing its thing. Solar panels are generating solar energy for our needs. Oh, look at that, there's a river on the surface. Isn't that beautiful? I bet there's a wonderful jungle with tropical trees, natural hot tubs. I actually found a natural hot tub once. Beautiful indigenous girls that don't speak the language. Yeah, we're leaving the planet now, so it's too late for any of that. Cool. Alright, boost control. We are gonna go fast. On your marks, at your stations, get set, ready, go, go, go. Is this the one? Is this just the whole completely wrong trajectory? Yeah, we need to scoot this over a bit so that it resembles this way. And now we're gonna overshoot. No. Yes, encounter is established. That's 1800 meters per second, which we'll need to apply in 37 minutes, and that will not all stem from this stage, but fortunately we have another one. And because this is not an efficient ion probe or some such malarkey, this thing will just put the pedal to the metal, burn chemical engines, and just go, go, go. At least that's the theory. I hope I, from the past, designed this thing with enough foresight to actually carry enough delta V. I think I did, but we'll find out soon. Let's see, 12 minutes to T minus 01 burning time. Is the launch pad? The launch pad is still being reconditioned, so it doesn't really matter for the other ship, which we will launch in the next episode as soon as the launch pad is reconditioned. With that in mind, it may have been smart to put these things in orbit before the launch window happened. But hey, you know what? You learn things every day on this job. So, 2 minutes out. At 1 minute out, we're lighting the engine. Actually, we're going to do it now. Come on. Throttle on. This is the last engine we have that actually has an alternator on it. So from now on we're dependent on solar power and batteries, of course. This first stage is actually doing a hell of a job. It's taking care of 500 meters per second of the second stage. Of course our payload is really small, but this makes me feel confident about this mission. We can do course corrections and maybe even maneuver a little bit around. Tylo, where's that stage going? It's... the other one is already heading out of system, so that's not going to be a junk problem. Cool, this thing has a kilometer per second to go. And it's not the largest engine, so it will take a short while, but not too long. And then I'm gonna cook myself some dinner, because it will probably take on the order of multiple years to get there. Now, for the future, when we inevitably will have extremely fast rocket ships, I'm gonna ask you guys, how do you actually plot a faster course? Do you just trial and error it, or is there a way, like... I mean, the system will give you encounters even if you go faster, but is there like a method to enter the delta V you have available for your transfer, and that it has the fastest one for that budget and not the most energy efficient one? I'm not quite sure about that, so if you have some info. I mean, the fastest trajectory is the brachistochrome one, where you basically thrust the whole way. Thrust halfway there, flip around, and then thrust for braking the other halfway. I mean, in this system, that would be fast enough for straight line trajectories. but we're not gonna get the rockets that are that fast. Not realistically. Alright, this we need to brake a little bit because we're too fast. Anyway, I will solve that when we get to it, but if you have some opinions or nice to know things that would help with that, more than welcome. Let's see how low this can go from here. Yeah, it's getting all spastic again. I don't like that. I don't believe it. I mean, the encounter isn't gone. It isn't just gonna go from really far to much closer and then just suddenly pop out of existence. But that such is the way of quantum space travel. Sometimes, I suppose, this could happen. Alright, this thing is on its way. It will be there in 2.5 years. We may overtake it. Let's put it that way. We may overtake it. I hope we'll overtake it. That'll be really, really awesome. Let's have that as an unofficial mission to overtake the first probe to Tylo, and of course the Eeloo as well as soon as that happens. Cool, that's that. Let's return to the Space Center. Thank you for watching. If you like this, do subscribe if you haven't already. You will get automatic email notifications of follow-up episodes. For now, I'm Lorenzo. Have a good night. It's night here. And see you next time. Goodbye.